And through the magic of television, we're back in Steve's kitchen for our tasting session. And we've had our chilled watermelon soup in the freezer for about a half hour, and then we've just poured ourselves a soup plate full of this wonderful mixture. And then I've got a basil leaf cigar, and I'm going to cut me some really small pieces of basil to sprinkle on top. I've noticed this the basil is not the best. It when you roll it in a cigar and slice it French style, it should never turn black on the edges. But I noticed that's what happened here. I'm going to take and get some blueberries now, some fresh blueberries, and I'm going to just sprinkle those around the entire plate. And I love fresh blueberries with watermelon soup. I just think it's the perfect thing to do. And then all you gotta do is just take your little pieces of basil from your basil cigar and sprinkle those all around. And you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but look at how appetizing that looks here. We'll get rid of the berries and everything else out of sight. I want you to see this. So I don't have the luxury, since I do this out of my home and I'm doing these videos to offer something wonderful to my audience, but also I have 40 physical disabilities and 5 head traumas and impacts. And so I'm disabled basically and don't have the money to hire a camera crew. So I'm going to hone in on this. I'm going to step off camera and I'm going to do a close-up of this, because when you see how wonderful this is, you want to make this for yourself. Now think about it. Is that a wonderful mixture here or what? This chilled watermelon soup, it take you 10 minutes to make, and you could serve probably a family of 6 easily off of this. And you know, what does it cost you? Less than $10 for sure. And so the thing is that this is just a wonderful thing that you could do. See how beautiful that is? I'm going to step back here and we're actually going to taste this. I'm going to come into view again. And we're going to taste this wonderful chilled watermelon soup. So I hope you thought that this is appetizing. Wait till you actually taste it. Very refreshing. And the thing is you could serve it with like a whole wheat roll. I've got some Italian bread here that I was going to cut up a small slice. You get this at any of your major, you know, retail grocery stores should have Italian loaves, the major ones in your metropolitan area. And I love Italian loaf bread. It's very, very versatile. It works with everything. It's the most versatile bread. Besides getting those Bolera or Telera rolls that are really big, and they're like a giant bun, but they're better. They're better tasting than a Kaiser roll. That, with any one of those things, Italian rolls, you know, those Telera rolls, Italian bread, whole wheat buns, anything like that would be a real good, delicious combination. In fact, you know, those of you out there that like pumpernickel, even if you're, I come from Polish German. My grandmother was Polish German, son, you know, a quarter of each, and they always had, you know, the rye bread or like pumpernickel. pumpernickel is a really good addition too. This dark bread works really good with this kind of a sweet soup like this. And so you know, it's really wide open what you can do. You could just eat this plain. You could, in fact, take this mixture here and pour this into ice cubes and put toothpicks in for the kids. You know, you could sit there and do this smoothie style and mix a handful of blueberries in it and just blend it in your blender. You know, and so there's an infinite amount of things you could do. You could probably do 100 different things. That'd be great. But I've just mentioned a few of them that I know of and I've experimented with and I've had good luck with. And so with that, I'm hoping that you too will want to either lose weight, maintain your weight, have increased vitality, and have more energy just in general, and live a healthier, happier lifestyle by tuning in to Steve's Kitchen each time, because I'm going to give you the best in lean cooking that you can imagine. And I've been doing this for 30 years now, and I used to be fat and obese for 20 years of my life. Now look at how tiny I am. You see my wrist size? It's this big. That is really petite for a man. That's because I have French English on my father's side, and then my mother was Polish German. So that would explain why I have tiny limbs. It's my dad's side. And then I'm almost all torso. That would be my mother's side. So I'm kind of like Humpty Dumpty, who had a great fall. 9 years ago, Memorial Day, I was nearly killed doubling over from food poisoning because my landlord wouldn't fix a refrigerator after 9 months. And I doubled over on a Tuesday at home, got rid of everything in the fridge that I thought would be bad, but I had a pineapple. And I cut it into, you know, slices, and I ate 3 honkin' slices because it was a 90-degree day, a Memorial Day weekend. And I'm over at Lake Calhoun in Minneapolis, and I get about not even 20 minutes into it. I get about not even halfway around in front of the beach club, and I could literally just feel it right here, the food poisoning coming on. And me, I'm not one that vomits much. I'm more of a dry heaver. And not to gross you out too much, but I was bruised, bloody, broken bones head to toe. And I had been knocked unconscious for 23 hours and woke up the next day, 23 hours later, in HCMC in their intensive care unit, where I spent 4 days. Then they sent me home for a week, and I had to go back for 4 days because my collarbone was pushing out of my shoulder. It was broken to pieces, mainly 3. And the one that was sharp was literally poking out of my skin practically, and they had to just keep me there for another 4 days and do an operation on that. And so I had this titanium plate put in, and then when they removed it, a year and a half later, I've got this big knot of calcium. It's about like this big, and the nerve pain I have there, if you'd like just touch my shoulder gently like this, if you push it in the right spot, you know, it can send pain for weeks even, you know. And so this is, I have never recovered from the edema. I look like I'm a little bit pregnant, but it's hidden underneath the apron here. And so I need 2 operations. I need to have dental work, because I couldn't brush or floss my teeth right for over a year and a half. And so my teeth are stained, so I don't have that quote-unquote, you know, that TV smile. And the other thing is the abdominal surgery I need, the plastic surgery I need from the edema. Both of these will run me about $25,000 that I don't have. And so if you happen to enjoy this video and want to see more, I would love to keep bringing them to you. But my concern right now is I'm trying to raise money to have these 2 surgeries done, the oral surgery and the abdominal surgery, so that I can be back to the pre-state that I was before this catastrophic accident that nearly killed me. I'm lucky to be alive. And this was so bad that here I am 9 years and 2 months later. It'll be coming up here on the 29th of July here. We're at the end of July here already. That certain things I will never recover. You know, short-term memory with names and numbers, my ability to write letters, you know, my ability to get into complex problem solving and thinking for hours on end, and you know, lead the team to do this. I'm just not able to do any of this stuff no more. And so at minimum, I want to at least get my body back to normal. And I can't do it without raising $25,000 for the 2 operations. The one is the oral surgery is about $18,000, and the abdominal surgery is $8,600. And so, actually, I somewhere between $25,000-$30,000 if you count the expenses that I'll need and stuff too. So. If you happen to enjoy this, hit the thumbs up and keep tuning in. And if you could find it in your heart, you know, for some kind of donation, it could be as small as $1 even. I don't care. My hope is that someday I can continue to offer more and more abundance to my audiences. For those of you who are new to me, I started out in 2006 doing a TV show called Trim Time, because it's never too late to lose weight. And from that I did a cooking demonstration. I think it was my 6th episode, and it was the only episode I got all this repeat response for. And so I decided to do the spin-off show Trim Time in 07 and 08. Or I'm sorry, Steve's Kitchen, I meant to say, the spin-off show Steve's Kitchen, which was a spin-off of Trim Time. That was the original show. And so both shows throughout the entire year until Burnsville Egan Community Television closed, I think it was the 18th of December, 2008, basically from January of 08 till then, so roughly 11 months, both of my shows, Trim Time and Steve's Kitchen, which I'm trying to revitalize right now, had aired every single day. And I was on my way to becoming financially, independent. And then this catastrophic accident occurred. And before that, I had sciatic nerve injury that set me back. I couldn't work much in 09, and the TV show was, the TV station had went debunk after 30 years. I think it was 17 people lost their jobs at Christmas time in 08 because of the one city didn't want to do business with the other no more. So Burnsville Egan Community Television was debunked. And I haven't been on the air since, because I've had to spend all my time and energy just trying to survive, and I was hooked on internet, hooked on opiates, and I had to fix all that for myself. And thankfully, because I had really strong convictions and grew up with a grandmother who had a Jesus lens and pounded ethics and values into me, so quitting was never an option growing up with 5 adults as an only child. I managed to be very, very strong throughout this, and I never quit and gave up on myself. And so because of that, I was able to get through at least a half a dozen addictions over the last 9 years, you know, mainly the prescription drugs. Once they don't work no more, you have to walk away from them, and that's not always easy. Same thing with the internet. The internet, and especially if you don't have a girlfriend because you're late bedridden, what are you going to do? You're going to masturbate, right? So you get hooked on internet porn. So internet addictions are really easy to get caught up in. You know, and so look at how many people text and drive. That's the ultimate mental illness right there. Because if you're texting and driving, you're premeditating to do something bad, putting other people at risk besides yourself. So I could say all this because long before I did Trim Time, I've been a psychology instructor since 1992, and I lost 88 pounds, ending 20 years of obesity by March of '89. and I started in January '90. I went to college after that to become a lawyer originally, but I ended up being a psych instructor. So I went from going for the money to going to be a humanitarian. And had I not made that choice to be a humanitarian, I wouldn't be here before you right now, sharing this wonderful chilled soup recipe and sharing the tragic story of my life for the last decade, roughly. Because what happens to you is you go from a situation where you're thriving to coping, because all your time is spent trying to get medical help, trying to find doctors, trying to find lawyers, trying to get services met. And because of the narcissism that exists in our society today, these tasks are extremely difficult when you're not at your best or your fullest capacity due to lack of sleep and injuries and so forth. And so this going from thriving to coping is really a difficult blow. And right now what I'm doing is trying to go from coping, an upward spiral, from coping to thriving, or from scarcity to abundance. And so I'm hoping that you'll try my soup recipe here. It's just so easy. And you can adapt it to be like a smoothie or a treat for the kids with the ice cube tray and the toothpicks or what have you. There's just so many things you could do with this, and there's just there's I think about 3 grams of fat per serving, whatever is in your bread or buns or rolls or whatever you put with it. So it's really minimal. And if you really want to have something even more exciting, I keep in my refrigerator a variety of organic juices. You could have organic peach, which is amazing. It would go perfect with that. Or another really good one is strawberry. The strawberry lemonade. And so you pour yourself a glass of juice to go along with your chilled soup and what have you. And so I'm hoping you try this, and I'm hoping you like it. If you don't, oh well. I've got plenty of other ideas for you that'll help you keep you lean and mean and feisty and full of vibrance and energy, instead of being fat and lazy and derping and always feeling like you're coping instead of thriving. The food you put in your body will change your life. And if you get away from all the processed corporate diet fast food garbage and instead do everything fresh as much as possible, you'll go from being sick 60 to 90 days a year, like when I was obese, weighed over 200 pounds in this little tiny frame. I look fat right now at 140. My LDL weight's about 118. But the thing is the only reason why my weight isn't right isn't what I eat. It's this edema that came back from a drug that I went off of and then went back to. And if I would have never went off of it, this would have never happened. But there was a problem with the pharmacy, and I went for 5 days. And and so as a result of not having this, it freaks my body out. There's something weird with it where if I change a drug or go without one or what have you, I swell now ever since I had this first really critical edema after I had the hardware removed in my shoulder after that big accident 9 years ago. So, now that you know my life story for the last 10 years, I'm hoping you can go and improve your life and have lots of vibrance and abundance by eating fresh and trying recipes just like this one. And so with that, I'm going to go and wish you farewell. Be sure to check out my other videos. Press the thumbs up if you like what you see, like what you tried. Subscribe with the little bell in the corner. And if there's a way to donate, great. If there's a way you can find me at my email. I haven't established at this point a bona fide business email or website yet because, like I said, I've been laid up for almost 10 years. And so I'm working on that. If any of you folks out there have an abundance of knowledge in web design, web marketing, what have you, please email me or try to get a hold of me because I'd be interested in partnering with you, or at least hearing if you have some ideas as to how I could improve myself so that more people can learn how to be vibrant and do lean cooking like I've showed you today. So with that, I'm going to go, and remember, cooking lean is supreme. And so I thank you for joining me in Steve's Kitchen. You have a great day.